Hi guys, welcome to my channel Sushruta. Today our topic is on valence bond theory. It's a most important topic in chemical bonding. First, what is valence bond theory? Let's learn from the roots. Chemical bonding can be described by two theories. They are valence bond theory, or it is also can be termed as VBT, and molecular orbital theory. We know MOET, molecular orbital energy level diagrams, all are seen in this theory. So today we are going to speak about valence bond theory. Okay, first, valence bond theory postulates. This theory was proposed by Hitler and London in 1927. This theory was even extended by Pauling and Slater in 1931. That means some of the corrections was made by Pauling and Slater and additions were also done for the theory which was proposed by Hitler and London. Okay. Next, it explains the formation of a covalent bond. What is a covalent bond? A covalent bond is formed by overlapping of two half-filled atomic orbitals containing electrons in opposite spin. That means a bond which is formed by the overlapping of two half-filled atomic orbitals which has the electrons of opposite spins gives a covalent bond. The presence of many unpaired electrons in the valence shell of an atom enables to form multiple bonds, but the paired electrons will not participate as per the valence bond theory. That means, according to valence bond theory, when the postulates are given, it is said that only the unpaired electrons form bonds, but the paired electrons will not form any bonds. Okay, remember this point, it is very important, and a point relating to this you will find in the next page. When two orbitals having same energy, the more directionally concentrated orbital would form stronger bond. That is why p orbital will form stronger bond than s orbital, because p orbital is more directionally concentrated orbital. Okay, come. This is how we describe the valence bond theory. Okay, these are the atomic orbitals which combine to form a molecular orbital of hydrogen. See here, paired electrons in valence shell can also take part in bond formation. What is this? In the previous paper you have said that paired electrons will not take part in bond formation. No, yes, I said, but this is possible when one of the paired electron shift to vacant orbitals of higher energy under excited conditions. That means when an electron is in ground state, it is paired, but if it goes to an excited state, then it will be an unpaired electron. As I said before, unpaired electrons can participate in bond formation according to VBT. So it even participates in bond formation. See, for example, carbon, its atomic number is 6. In ground state, 1s2, 2s2 and 2p2. That means outer shell is 2s2 and 2p2. Here we have 2s2, both the electrons, that means paired, and 2p2 having 2 electrons. But in excited state, an electron from s, it shifts to p. That means we have 4 unpaired electrons. Before, according to this, it will not participate in bond formation, but in excited state it will participate in bond formation. That is the meaning of this point. Okay, phosphorus 15 atomic number, it is also a general example of this point. Look, in ground state, 3s2, 3p3 and 3d0, but in excited state an electron from s jumps to d. So here even the same case occurs. Next, energy of the orbital. I'm saying you from before, but how to calculate this energy? It's very simple. Energy of orbital can be calculated by addition of both principal quantum number plus azimuthal quantum number. That means, let me show you. I'll just give you an example. 3s and 2p. This, the number is principal quantum number, and this is azimuthal quantum number. We all know it. We have learned it from basics. So here 3 plus s value is 0. Here 2 plus p value is 1. So it is 3 and it is also 3. That means the energies are same. The energy of orbitals can be calculated in this way. Overlapping of orbitals results in decrease in energy. Yes. Why? Because, see, that is the reason why even energy of molecular orbital is less than energy of atomic orbital. Because while bonding of the atomic orbitals, wait, let me show you by explaining. Let me explain you by showing these. See, here these two are atomic orbitals and this is molecular orbital, right? Here the energy of molecular orbital is less than energy of atomic orbital. That means energy of this molecular orbital is less than these orbitals. Why? Because during the overlapping of these two atomic orbitals, some energy is released, and that energy is known as bonding energy, which stabilizes the molecule. The bonding energy stabilizes the molecule, which is released during the overlapping of these two atomic orbitals. That means initially they used to have some energy, but during the bond formation, a little amount of energy is released. Then the molecular orbital is formed with stability. That means it has lesser energy. The energy of atomic orbitals of a certain amount is lost to form the molecular orbital. So energy of molecular orbital is always lesser than energy of atomic orbital. Next, depending upon the overlapping of orbitals, two types of bonds are formed. What are they? We are familiar with these bonds: sigma bond and pi bond. Sigma bond, the bond formed by end-to-end overlapping or overlapping along their axis. See, along the axis they are getting overlapped. This kind of bonding is known as sigma bond. And due to the overlapping along their axis, maximum overlapping takes place. So sigma bond is strong bond because the maximum overlapping is taking place. So the bond will be strong. These are the types of sigma bonds. SS overlapping takes place to form sigma bond, and SP overlapping forms sigma bond, and PP overlapping also forms sigma bond, and it even forms pi bond. See, example for SS overlapping is hydrogen and hydrogen. That means 1s of hydrogen and 1s of hydrogen, atomic orbitals. And example of SP overlapping is hydrogen HF or H2O or NH3, etc. You can write your own examples for these. An example of PP overlapping is F2 molecule, overlapping along internuclear axis to form sigma bonds. Yes, internuclear axis. Okay, next, pi bond. The bonds formed by the sideways or lateral overlapping of orbitals is known as pi bond. That means these bonds, the overlapping taken place for these bonds are sideways overlapping or lateral overlapping. Since the lateral overlapping is partial, the bonds are weak. This is PP, that is pi bond overlapping. See, sideways overlapping. This leads to formation of pi bond. And pi bond is always accompanied by a sigma bond. Yes, we even know that. See, look at these examples. O2. In O2 molecule, it is double bonded. It has single bond sigma bond, and other one is pi bond. Has one sigma and one pi bond. And in N2, triple bond is seen. In that we have one sigma bond and other two pi bonds. Next, strength of sigma bond. P bond P, PP overlapping is greater, I mean this is more stronger than SP, it is more stronger than SS. Next, bond strength, always sigma is stronger than pi bond, remember it. Reactivity, it will be quite opposite to bond strength, because if it is less strong, that means if it is weak, it will be more reactive. If it is strong, it will be less reactive. So pi is always more reactive than sigma bond. Okay, that's it for today, guys. This is the postulates of valence bond theory. In the next video, let's discuss about the applications of valence bond theory and even the demerits. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel Sushruta. Meet you in the next video. Bye bye, guys.